Hello and welcome to this episode. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your computer or your development environment so that you can also code along the practical sessions that we'll be having. So to get started, I will want you to install Anaconda. So go to Google and just search for Anaconda Python and then click to the site anaconda.com, and you can read about Anaconda on their official website, which is what you are seeing. But in summary, Anaconda is just a distribution of Python that comes bundled with most of the libraries that are needed for data science and machine learning for that matter. So as you can see, once you install Anaconda, it is coming with things like NumPy, SciPy, TensorFlow, pandas, and I mean it works really well for a data scientist. So that is the reason why I want you to install Anaconda Python's distribution. Now you might be wondering, okay, what if you already have Python on your computer? Yes, even if you have Python on your computer, it is still going to be very beneficial if you installed Anaconda, because it will help you to create virtual environment. And I'm not saying it is only Anaconda which makes it possible for you to create virtual environment. And by the way, a virtual environment is an isolated Python setup that is project specific. So whenever you're working on multiple projects, you would want to let every project have its own Python interpreter, just so you don't um, mess up with different versions of your dependencies, basically. So whenever you're working on any Python project, it is advised that you start off by creating a separate virtual environment, which is just an isolated Python interpreter that you will use per project that you work on. Now, like I was saying, it is not only Anaconda that makes this possible. Your normal Python distribution that is installed on your computer also makes it possible for you to create virtual environment. However, for some of the deep learning libraries that we will be using, especially TensorFlow, it doesn't work very well with Python 3.7. So if your default Python installation is 3.7, then you will have challenges. And the good news is, once you install the Anaconda Python distribution, you are able to bootstrap new virtual environment with even different versions of Python. So you can create a virtual environment that is running Python 2.4, 2.7, 3.6, 3.7. I mean, you choose the version that you want based on whatever is the requirement of your dependencies. And so that is one of the very cool reasons why you will have to install Anaconda. And I already have Anaconda installed, so I'm going to go ahead to create a virtual environment, and let me increase the font size a bit, and please let me know in comment if the font size is too small for you to see what's going on. Okay, so I already have Anaconda installed, and one way to know if you have it installed is to just do conda, or you can do conda minus version, and it's going to tell you the version of Anaconda that is installed on my system. So I'm going to create a virtual environment, and that is going to be an isolated Python environment to host all the libraries that we'll be using for the practical sessions. In fact, everything throughout this course. So to do that, you just run this command. You say conda create, I think, minus n, and then you give it a name. I'm going to call it mastering DL. So this is going to be the name of the virtual environment. Is, like I said, it's just going to be a separate Python installation isolated from the system's Python installation. And so it gives us the freedom to install different versions of the libraries that we are going to use and all that. So, and this is where conda is very cool. I can say Python is equal to 3.6, and I'm using Python 3.6 because of don't upgrade. I'm using Python 3.6 because once we start coding neural networks, I'll be showing you how to do it in both Keras and PyTorch, and there are challenges getting PyTorch or TensorFlow to work with Python 3.7. So it is good that you stick with at most Python 3.6 unless you have specific reasons not to. So It's going to tell you all the default libraries it's going to come with, and all you have to do is to type yes, and then it will install. So at this point, I'm assuming that you have gone to the site, which is this site. You've downloaded the version of Anaconda you need, and it's pretty easy to install. So just download and install it, and yes, you have the environment created. So once it creates a virtual environment, it is not active, and you have to type a command to make it active. How we're going to make that active is to say conda activate, and then you bring the name of the environment that you created. And as you can see, conda is so helpful. It shows you how to use it. So after creating, it says to create this environment, use conda, to activate this environment, use conda activate mastering DL. So I'm going to say conda activate mastering DL. And how you get to know that it has been activated is you see that your prompt will change. Initially it was base, which was using the base Python installation that came with Conda, and now that I have created and activated mastering DL, it goes ahead to activate mastering DL here. So if I do, let me clear screen, which I like doing a lot. So if I do which Python, and this is just going to help me check which Python interpreter is going to execute if I type Python at a command prompt. Okay, so what's going to happen here is with this command which Python is telling me that the Python that will be used in this session of my terminal is the Python that is coming from users, py anaconda, and mastering DL. So basically it's telling you that the Python installation that you are using is the one that is coming from the mastering DL virtual environment. So this is basically how to install Conda and create a virtual environment. Now we're going to go ahead to install the dependencies that we will need. And for all the practical sessions, I'm going to use Jupyter Notebooks. Let me see if I can show you how it looks like before I even show you how to install it. So basically Jupyter Notebooks gives you an interactive UI within which you can type your command and then get immediate responses. Like, it is very interactive and it is very good when you use it for data science, or you want to try out ideas before you convert your code into a regular Python script. Okay, so the way it works is it will give you a UI that connects to a server. The server is called the kernel, and the kernel is what is running your Python interpreter. So the UI basically takes your Python statements, ships it to the kernel executes it, and then the UI is going to show you the output that comes back from the kernel. It is very easy, and I'm going to show you how to install it, and then I'll show you how to use it. Okay, so over here I am going to install Jupyter. So I'll say pip. I mean, to install things with Conda, you can also say Conda install, but there are some distributions that are not available in the Conda repository. So I just use pip install. In fact, let me clear screen so that everything is fresh. So I'll say pip install Jupyter. See how the Jupyter is spelled. It's like Jupyter. Okay, so this also requires internet connection. It's going to download Jupyter from the internet, and then it's going to make it available in your virtual environment. So always remember, you need to activate the virtual environment, otherwise you'll be installing Jupyter in your global Python installation, which is something you may not want to do. So yes, I'm waiting for it to finish installation, and hopefully everything will go well, and we can go ahead and install the other dependencies as well. Yeah, so it is done. We now have Jupyter installed, and I'm also going to, I know NumPy and all those things comes bundled with the Conda environment, but just to be sure, I'll say pip install. I'll install NumPy, and let's see what it tells us. Okay, so it is installing NumPy. I don't know why it is reinstalling, probably because I didn't use Conda, because once I didn't use the Conda install, maybe because Conda comes bundled with all these things. Okay, so I'll do pip install. We're also going to need PyTorch. So let's confirm how to install PyTorch. So I'll say PyTorch you go to the official site and maybe you go to get started. There should definitely be a way to install. Okay, so if you are installing it with Conda, you can say Conda install PyTorch, and you can also install Torch Vision, which we haven't started talking about, so I won't do that. But if you just want to use pip to install it, then the command is pip install torch. Okay, so I'm going to do pip install torch, and this is also going to get downloaded from the internet. So I'm going to wait for it to finish, and after that we will install our last dependency, which is matplotlib, which we will use to plot graphs. So um, I will explain the code as and when it is necessary. So I'll do pip install matplotlib, and that also has to be downloaded. And as you can see, it is saying requirement already satisfied. It's because NumPy is a transitive dependency of matplotlib, so it realizes that some of the packages have already been installed and then it doesn't reinstall them. Okay, so now we have installed the dependencies, which is NumPy, Torch, and matplotlib. So I'm going to show you how to start Jupyter. Before we do that, I want you to create a folder for all the things that we are doing, okay, all the practical sessions that we'll be having. So I'm in my home folder and I'm going to create a folder, mkdir, and I'm going to call it ML practice. Okay, then I'll cd into ML practice because I will be creating notebooks and I want them to reside in this folder. Once I'm here, all that I have to do is to say Jupyter notebook, and this command is going to start the Jupyter kernel like I explained to you, and it will automatically open in the browser the UI that you'll be able to use to interact with the kernel, which is a server running in the terminal session that we opened. Okay, so I will close this and I will close this. Now over here, I'm going to create a new notebook. So the way we use Jupyter is to create notebooks. Okay, so I'm going to create a notebook that runs Python 3, and you can click in the title here. It's by default shows untitled, and you give it a name. So I'm going to call this one, I'm going to call it 01 Jupyter Basics. So this is just a notebook I'm creating to show you how to use Jupyter from the very beginning. Okay, so once you create a Jupyter notebook, it gives you cells. So what you are seeing here is a cell, and inside a cell you can type any Python command, and then you press Shift Enter. And what will happen once you do that is this user interface or the UI is going to ship the statement you type and press Shift Enter to the kernel, and the kernel is going to execute it, return back the output, and the UI is going to show the output. So let's see. I'll say print mastering deep learning, and then I'll press Shift Enter. So what happens is Python doesn't run in the browser, so your command print mastering DL was sent to the kernel, which is running in this terminal session here, and the kernel is using the Python installation that comes with the virtual environment we created, and the output comes and it is shown in here. So basically it gives you different number of cells. By default it is a code cell, but if you want to change the type of cell you have, you select that cell and then you go into this drop down here. If you want to use markdown to take notes, you can change it to a markdown, and then once I come in here I can type any markdown command that I know and also press Shift Enter and it will execute it. So let's say I just want to use heading 2 and then say notebooks 101, notebooks 101. When I press Shift Enter, you see that it has executed the markdown code that I placed in there, and it is showing the preview of what the markdown is supposed to do. If you want to edit any cell, just go click in there, change whatever you want to change. So I can come here and say deep learning, Shift enter and then it executes it. For markdown is the same, but if you want to edit, then you have to double click on it and then you can change it. So maybe I can say 101 and I'll say basics. And then so this is just for taking notes, okay? Then you can press enter. So you combine the code cells and then the markdown cells to create nice looking notebooks for yourself. And the beauty of these Jupyter notebooks is it's interactive. So it's a notebook in which you can also run your Python code. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.